Incident reporting in Mission Control. Let's take a look at how administrators can get more information on the incidents, how they were handled, and any changes that were made to the system. We're going to start off by looking at our new investigation task, which is the incident report. Looking at the interface, on the left side we have a list of filters similar to what we have in other Security Center reporting tasks. Of course, this filter list is geared towards incidents, so we have things like the type, the location, and the owner. The right side of the interface is very similar to what we saw in the incident monitoring task. The differences here are in the top bar, where we have the options to export a report or print a report, and we're missing things like trigger an incident, or the options to be able to split this into multiple monitors. We have our map and our dashboard here, as well as our incident list on top. And on the bottom of the dashboard we have our general and incident tabs, in case we need to do any management with any entities that we're viewing as part of the incident investigation. Just like in the incident monitoring task, we can also select a map to use. In this case, we're going to go back to our Airport Terminal 3 and choose the Terminal 3 Departures map. Now if we generate a report that has any incidents from the Terminal 3 departures in it, we'll see them show up on the map. Let's generate a quick report using some of the filters. The type filter is very familiar, as we see our categories here and we see our list of incidents. In this report, I only want to see the incidents that happened in the facilities category. We could also filter on a specific state as well, so an administrator or supervisor could use this report to actually see which ones are currently in progress, or research any closed incidents. Now just note that this list is actually generated based on when we click on the Generate Report button on the bottom, so it's not going to be actively updating the ones that are in progress. This would be more if a supervisor wanted to get a quick snapshot of what's currently happening in terms of the incidents on their system. For now, I want to choose all states, so I'm just going to turn off this filter. For the location, of course, I can choose a specific area or a particular entity. So in this case, I'm going to choose my Terminal 3 departures. If I wanted to see anything from my other Terminal 3 maps, I could choose those here as well. Note on the bottom that we do have controls to check all of the items, or uncheck all of them to clear the list. And to make it easier to see, we can actually only show the ones that we have checked. This is a good way of verifying that you have everything selected that you want to before you actually run the report. The priority lists the priorities that we have set up in our system. You can see that we have our custom VIP one that we created when we were working on the role. And of course we can choose the time frame, and this is related to when the incident was triggered, either manually or automatically. So I want to see everything within the last week, so I'm just going to change the drop down here. We have our standard warning here that is basically saying that we might get a lot of results from this. If we wanted to see what a particular user has been doing in Mission Control, we could set that up in the owner here. So I could limit my results to one specific user or a couple of users. And as well in the description, we could enter any text that we want to search for here. So if an operator doesn't remember the incident ID but does remember that they wrote the word handbag in the description, you could add that here, which would limit your results and make finding the actual incident a lot easier. So let's run the report using the specific location and the trigger time. Now we only came up with one incident here, which was our bomb threat, and that was the one that we triggered on the map. Now bear in mind that this is just searching on the actual area here. So incidents that may have happened on the doors in this area or on the cameras wouldn't be listed because we only have the area listed here. So if I turn off the location and I run the report again, you can see that we have a longer list of items, and they represent things like our forced entry on the door and our camera offline that we had over here. Just like in our incident monitoring task, we can right-click on the incident to get more options, such as the ability to view it in a tile, or we can click on the item up top in the incident list. Since this incident is in progress, if I right-click on it, I do have more options here, like the ability to take ownership and to change the state. If we click on one of our closed incidents, we of course get some of our vital information from the incident list here. But we can also take a look at the dashboard. So we can see who the owner was, what the priority was when it was closed. We have the arrow indicating the priority was lowered. And here we have the location, which we can also see on the map. And below that, we have our list of procedures that were followed. And we can see which ones were checked and which ones were not. And of course we have our activity list. That contains all the information we need to investigate the incident. We still have our chevrons here on the side, so we can jump in and see if there's any related incidents, any linked incidents here as well, and see any related entities, which in this case we have our storage room camera that we've added. If you need to verify any of the information that the operator was looking at while they're investigating the incident, we still have the related documents down here as well that you can use. Based on the filters we have set up, we can export the report from here, or we can actually print it as well. Exporting the report will ask for the file format, and will also ask for the destination. Reports can be exported in the standard Excel, CSV, or PDF format. Choosing CSV or PDF will give us a few extra fields that we can modify, such as the orientation of the exported file. Now let's see, a few other incidents have happened, and I want to see what's happening on this actual door here. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit on it, on the evidence locker door. So I want to see anything that's happened on that door, so I'm going to turn the type off here. I'm going to change the location. I want to uncheck my departures. And since we have nothing checked, it removed the I option and is showing me everything. So I want to see the door, and it's the evidence locker door that's right here. I'm going to select that. And I'm going to generate my report. So we can see we've got 4 incidents that happened on that particular door. We can either select an incident to view from up here, or if we take a look at the door on the map, we can see that we've actually got a little number 4 icon on the actual door itself, on the incidents, and that tells us how many have been applied to this door. If I click on the incident, I actually get a little pop-up list with a brief summary of the incidents that have happened. So if I want to see the forced entry from October 7th, I can click on it, and it's going to bring that one up in the list and select the incident to view in the dashboard as well. That way we can make sure that all the procedures were followed and see what kind of activity is associated with this incident. So that's the incident reporting task, and it can show us our incident history and give our administrators and supervisors more information that we need about particular incidents that happened. And once again, this can be used to streamline your actual security procedures for any training that might be needed for particular operators to see how they responded to an incident, and we can use it to track response times as well. Now I want to jump back over to the config tool for a minute, and I just want to show one other option that is good for administrators to see what has actually been done on the system with regard to your incident types and any changes that might have been done to your incident setup from there. So we're going to go back to our incident configuration task, and on the top there, next to the incident configuration and the document management, we have an audit trails tab. So the filters list here is pretty simple, so we just need to choose the modification time. So if I took a look at this a week ago and I know everything was fine back then, I'd only want to take a look at what's been happening in the last week. If something is weird that we noticed in a particular incident type, we can limit it to that one. So for example, our bomb threat here. And if we want to see what a particular user has been up to, we can change the initiator as well. So if I run this report, I can see all the information I need to know about what has been changed on my bomb threat incident type. In this case, I can see that the initiator was the administrator the whole time, but I can see when the modifications were made, and a description of the modification, which for some circumstances will actually give you a lot of information in the from and the to line here. So in this particular example, we can see that the step list order was changed. And taking a look at the from and to, we can see that the bomb squad ETA step was moved up ahead of the advise video team step. Now, since workflows are very flexible and we're doing a lot of graphical changes in terms of moving things around and changing links between different activities in the workflow, you won't get as many details in the description since there isn't really a way to show those graphical changes that we've made on the actual workflow list. But for any other changes you make in any of the other tabs in the incident type, you will get more information on what field was changed and what it was changed from and to. This is particularly important if you have a large team and you have more than one person or a team of people that are actually going to be modifying and managing the incident types. And even if we don't have the exact specific information we need right here, we at least know when it was done and we at least know the initiator, so we can follow up with them to see why the change was made. And in most cases, we do have the information that we can use to revert the change if needed. This way, we're also adding a layer of accountability, so it's not just the operators that we're checking on, but we're also making sure that the system is being modified and managed appropriately as well.